So we're going to stay with the theme of some Easter music for this music moment. We are still in Eastertide. We're still celebrating the empty tomb. This is probably another one of those that some people look forward to singing this time of year. It is "The strife is o'er, the battle done, the victory of life is won, the song of triumph has begun. Alleluia." It's "The strife is o'er." Its hymn tune is actually known as Victory. You can tell in the text. I'll sing a couple of more of those verses, but there really is this idea of Christ is the victor over death. Interesting thing, I didn't know when I decided to do this particular tune for this music moment that there was a relationship with last time's music moment and time spent with the hymn Abide With Me. So I mentioned William Monk, who had something to do with Abide With Me. He also has something to do with this. Remember I said that he often would take old songs, chant tunes, and harmonize them, make them a little bit more than they were originally, to turn them into hymns. And that's exactly what happened with this melody. So the melody is actually written by an extremely well-known Renaissance composer, Giovanni Pierluigi da Palestrina. He often is known as just Palestrina. He gets to be known by what some would look at and say, oh, it's his last name, but actually it's the city he comes from. He was da Palestrina, of Palestrina, right? He was born, we think he was born in 1525, and he lived to 1594. So think about that. This melody dates all the way back to the Renaissance. Palestrina is known and talked about in my music study. We studied his music a lot because of all the goodness, kind of all of the transforming that his amazing work did to music. And we wouldn't have music that we have today if it weren't for the work of Palestrina. I'm convinced of it. So for you that know what the word polyphony means, he composed music at the height of polyphony, the idea that we like to hear all of these different things happening all at the same time instead of just one single melody. And he was masterful. He was masterful at polyphony. So every composer after him studied his music to learn how to do it. And there are specific rules about Renaissance polyphony, and they would have been his rules. He would have made those, and other people followed his way of doing it, right? So this melody, ba, 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 ba. That's Palestrina's work. That's his work. He had that a part of his Magnificat terzi toni. And specifically, that was the melody for the section of this Magnificat known as the Gloria Patri. So if you just think about that title, Gloria Patri, glory to the Father, right? In that Latin text, Gloria Patri, Gloria, Gloria Patri, Gloria. I wonder if that's what happened, because he was also masterful at making sure that his melodies fit the natural kind of rise and fall flux of words. He just was masterful at it. That's why his music is so magnificent to hear and also to sing. So if you notice, he gave the stress to patri, right, in the melody. Gloria patri, gloria. That's just what he knew to do. He couldn't hear it any other way. Masterful. I just think it's masterful. So this beautiful melody by Palestrina is what we hear in "The Strife is O'er." We know that Monk had his hands in there. He is actually the one who added the Alleluia. The Alleluia was not in the original Palestrina piece, and Monk added that in. We also know that there had to be a person who translated the Latin into English, and that would have been done by Francis Pott. So this whole piece, the way that we know it today, is said to have first appeared in this form in 1861. But it goes all the way back to the Renaissance. Incredible. That Renaissance, that time of rebirth, the time when art and music and all things were changing and becoming alive in new and different ways. I don't know. I think it fits Easter, doesn't it? So this particular hymn, right? The second verse is, the powers of death have done their worst, but Christ their legions has dispersed. Let shouts of holy joy outburst. Alleluia. The last verse is, Lord, by your wounds on Calvary, from death's dread sting your servants free, that we may live eternally. Alleluia. I just think it's a great hymn. It really does have, I don't know, it just has power in it somehow, not only from these words where we think about victory, but just also in the structure of the melody for sure. And we get to sing Alleluia, which in some traditions, right, particularly when we think about Roman Catholic tradition, the Alleluia is a natural part of the Mass, the structure of worship. And the Alleluias don't happen during Lent. They're not allowed to be sounded again until Easter. So hearing this word come back was a symbol and sign of the resurrection, right? We don't do that so much in our tradition. But I think it's kind of wonderful to think the Alleluias have to go away for a little while. And then maybe we appreciate them more when they come back, when we fully celebrate the wonder and the gorgeous gift, amazing gift to be excited about as the resurrection. So there's a little bit about the strife is o'er, or the strife is over. And I hope that this time with this hymn helped grow your faith this day, and you can hum this melody and it can fill your heart in good ways. Thanks for joining in this week's music moment.